Two people can sit in the same business class cabin, eat the same meal, stretch out in the same flat seat, and land at the same time, yet one pays several $1,000s more than the other. That is not luck. That is not a secret travel club. And it is definitely not because one passenger is more important. It happens because airline pricing rewards travelers who understand how the system works and punishes travelers who shop the way airlines expect them to. Most people look at business class and assume it is only for corporate travelers, rich retirees, or people drowning in points. That belief keeps a lot of smart travelers out of a seat they could actually afford with the right strategy. Because business class pricing is not random. It moves around demand, timing, route competition, and traveler behavior. Airlines know. When people are desperate, they know. When travelers care more about schedule than price, and they know how to charge a premium for convenience. That is where your advantage starts. If you stop booking emotionally and start booking strategically, the price can change fast. So, in this video, I am going to show you the smartest ways to lower the cost of business class without turning your trip into a stressful puzzle. We are going to cover when to book, why your airport matters, how layovers can save serious money, when upgrades make sense, and the best way to mix cabins so you spend where comfort actually matters. If you like practical travel advice that helps you fly smarter for less, subscribe now and follow along, because this video could change the way you book every international trip from this point on. Let us start with the mistake that burns the most money: booking too early. That sounds wrong at first, because travelers have heard the same advice for years. Book early and save money. And in economy, that can be true on many routes. But business class often plays by a different set of rules. When premium seats first open up, airlines are often protecting them for travelers with low price sensitivity. Think business travelers, urgent trips, company-paid travel, and people whose schedules are locked in far in advance. Those passengers are paying for certainty, not hunting for value. So, the first price you see is often not the smartest price to pay. On many routes, the more useful window shows up later, often a few months before departure, when the airline has a better read on how full that cabin is likely to be. If seats are not selling as strongly as expected, prices can soften. Sometimes only a little, sometimes a lot. That does not mean you should always gamble and wait until the last week. That can work, but it can also backfire badly during holidays, summer travel, or popular international seasons. When premium seats fill quickly, the smarter move is controlled patience. Track the route early, but do not rush to buy just because the flight appears on the screen. Watch price movement, compare nearby dates. Let the market show you whether demand is strengthening or weakening. And while you are doing that, pay close attention to the day you fly. Flights built around business travel patterns are often more expensive. Schedules that work well for business travelers usually carry a premium because so many people want them. Shift away from that pattern and the price often gets friendlier. That alone can save a surprising amount of money. The second big mistake is assuming your trip has only one correct starting point. Most travelers search from their home airport to their dream destination and take the results at face value. That feels simple, but it also gives the airline total control. Business class pricing can vary dramatically by airport and city pair. A premium seat from a smaller airport may cost far more than the same long-haul seat from a major hub, just a short distance away. That means your best business class fare might not start near your house at all. Sometimes the smart move is a short economy flight, train ride, or drive to a bigger departure city, where competition is stronger and premium fares are lower. This is where flexibility becomes money. Instead of asking what does business class cost from my local airport, ask where does this trip become affordable? That is a much better question. The same logic works on the destination side. If your goal is Europe, do not search only one city. Search several. If your goal is warmth in winter, compare multiple destinations instead of falling in love with the first one. A better fare might get you close enough that a short connection still leaves you far ahead. Travelers lose money when they assume convenience is always worth the premium. Sometimes it is, but often, a small adjustment unlocks a much better deal without changing the quality of the long-haul flight that matters most. This is one of the biggest mindset shifts in smart premium travel. Stop treating your first search as the answer. Treat it as the beginning of the puzzle. The more routing options you compare, the more likely you are to find the weak spot in the market. And that weak spot is exactly where business class starts to look possible instead of painful. Now let us talk about the strategy many travelers reject too quickly: layovers. Most people hear that word and instantly think inconvenience, delays, crowded gates, and overpriced food. That is, because they are imagining a bad economy experience. In business class, a layover can feel very different. And more importantly, it can save real money. Non-stop premium flights are usually priced for travelers who care deeply about time and are willing to pay for it. The airlines know non-stop routes are attractive to business travelers and high-spending travelers, so they charge accordingly. But the minute you allow one stop, the pricing landscape opens up. You suddenly have more route combinations, more airline options, and more room for the fare to drop. That can cut the price without taking away the most important part of the business class experience, which is long-haul comfort. Think about what you are really paying for. On a long international trip, the biggest value often comes from the long overnight segment. That is where the better seat, quieter cabin, lounge access, and improved rest make the biggest difference. If adding one stop protects that comfort and dramatically lowers the price, it deserves serious consideration. And here is something many travelers overlook. A layover in business class is not always dead time. In the right airport, it can actually become a break, a calm lounge, a proper meal, a shower, a place to breathe before the next flight. That is a very different experience from standing around a noisy gate with nowhere to sit. If you are getting value from this so far, tap like and subscribe, because the next few strategies on where many travelers save the most money of all. Of course, not every layover is smart. Some are too short and create stress. Some are too long and waste half a day. Some airports are so inefficient that the savings are not worth the hassle. So the goal is not to accept every connection. The goal is to choose them intelligently. Look at total trip time, not just ticket price. Make sure the savings justify the extra hours. If you are connecting, aim for airports that are known for smoother transfers and strong lounge options. A smart connection can feel like part of the premium experience. A bad one can ruin the value fast. Now let us move to another powerful tactic. Do not always buy business class first. Sometimes the cheaper path into business class is through an upgrade later. Airlines hate flying with empty premium seats. Once the plane leaves, unsold business class inventory becomes lost revenue. That creates opportunity for travelers who keep their eyes open. On some flights, passengers booked in regular economy or premium economy may later see a paid upgrade offer through the app, by email, during online check-in, or at the airport. And sometimes that price is far lower than the original business class fare. This is why the cheapest economy ticket is not always the smartest ticket. If your whole plan is to upgrade later, you need to pay attention to the fare rules. Highly restrictive tickets often limit your options. A rock-bottom fare that blocks upgrades can become an expensive mistake if comfort matters on that route. That is why regular economy or premium economy can be such a smart base. Premium economy especially can offer a much more comfortable trip, even if the upgrade never comes through, and on some routes it becomes a better launching point into business class. The beauty of this strategy is balance. If the upgrade appears, great, you win. If it does not, you still controlled your base cost and avoided overpaying up front. That is disciplined travel spending, and it works far better than throwing money at the first premium price you see. Another mistake travelers make is relying only on search engines and booking sites. Those tools matter. You should absolutely use them. They are great for comparison, route discovery, and price tracking. But some of the best opportunities show up directly from the airline. That is why staying connected matters. Airlines use email, app alerts, and loyalty programs to move seats quickly when they need demand. Sometimes these are broad public promotions. Sometimes they are targeted. Sometimes they are easy to miss if you only search once and walk away. You do not have to become obsessed with airline marketing. You just need a simple system. Join the frequent flyer programs for the airlines you might realistically use. Set price alerts on the routes you care about. Keep airline emails organized in one folder if you want. The point is not to read every message. The point is to notice when premium cabins go on sale, or when the airline starts pushing inventory. Without that context, every high price feels normal. With that context, you can recognize when a real opportunity appears. That is what saves money. It also helps to compare one-way pricing instead of assuming round trip is always best. Sometimes the best value is business class one-way and a different cabin on the return. Sometimes one airline is strong in one direction and another carrier is stronger coming back. Smart travelers compare both. This brings us to one of the most important ideas in the whole video. Business class does not have to be all or nothing. In fact, the people who save the most usually stop thinking that way. They stop asking, can I afford business class for the entire trip? They start asking, where will business class matter most? That is a much more useful question, because it leads directly to smarter spending. A short, daytime flight may not justify the premium. A long overnight international segment probably does. A quick positioning flight to a hub city might be perfectly fine in economy, while the long crossing where sleep matters is where business class earns its keep. That is where the better seat changes how you feel when you arrive. That is where comfort stops being a luxury and starts becoming part of the actual value of the trip. This is why mixing cabins can be such a strong move. You can book economy on the short leg and business on the long leg. You can fly economy on the daytime outbound and business on the overnight return. You can use premium economy on one direction and business on the other. The point is to build comfort around the parts of the trip that matter most, instead of chasing the same cabin on every boarding pass just because it feels cleaner. That is not settling. That is strategy. And it is one of the biggest reasons experienced travelers can enjoy premium travel without paying the most expensive version of the fare. When every extra dollar has a purpose, the trip feels better before you even leave home. You are not just buying status. You are buying better sleep, lower stress, a calmer arrival, and a smarter use of your travel budget. That is the right way to think about premium travel, not as a badge, as a tool. And once you start seeing it that way, a lot of expensive mistakes become much easier to avoid. Because the truth is simple. Business class gets expensive. When you treat it emotionally, it gets cheaper. When you treat it like a series of decisions, timing, routing, stops, upgrade paths, airline offers, and choosing the exact segments where the comfort gives you the best return. So let us bring it all together. If you want to fly business class without destroying your travel budget, stop chasing the fantasy version of premium travel and start using the practical version. Do not rush to buy too early. Track routes and watch for prices to soften. Pay attention to travel days that attract heavy business demand. Search from multiple airports and major hub cities instead of assuming your nearest airport is best. Do not reject one good layover if it protects long-haul comfort and cuts the fare. Consider regular economy or premium economy, when a later paid upgrade might create better value. Stay connected to airline alerts and price tracking so you can recognize a real opportunity when it appears. And above all, spend on comfort where it changes the trip the most, especially on long overnight flights. That is the whole game. Not luck, not mystery, not some secret club that only seasoned travelers know about. Just better decisions. And once you understand that, business class stops feeling impossible. It becomes a strategy, a series of choices that put you in a much better position than the average traveler who books on impulse and pays whatever the first search screen demands. That is how smart travelers win. They stay patient, they stay flexible, and they stop paying premium prices for habits that can be changed with a little planning. If you start using even 2 or 3 of these ideas on your next trip, you may be shocked at how different the numbers look. Leave a comment with the route you want to price smarter. Keep watching for more travel tactics that save real money, and Travel Tactics thanks you for watching.